Hi, my name is Habib Khan and welcome back to this video series of famous people's routines. This week we're doing Oprah Winfrey. She is a billionaire and I have so much to say about her, but I selected the very best lessons from her life to share with you. Oprah has a net worth of over $2.6 billion and she, unlike many other billionaires, she actually has been giving back to many charities, about 31 charities and 27 causes, although it's probably more. But she is the kind of person who, as she gets money and accomplishments, she's giving back and serving others. So we have Oprah's Habits on habitapp.com. Feel free to check it out there. Without further ado, let's start going over her habits. The first habit that she does, or life lesson she has, is the most important one that she talks about in a lot of different places, which is live out your highest and truest expression of yourself. Now, this is about finding your purpose and living your truth. Whether you get to it by feeling what is right or figuring out what you actually enjoy and like and what is really you, or you figure it out some other way, you want to do more of that because it gives you energy as opposed to draining you. So Oprah, she was originally an anchor woman, and that was extremely draining for her. But she one time interviewed the Carvel ice cream man, and it just felt right. And she had so much more joy doing it. And that led her down the path of doing more talk shows. And from there, she was able to really be more herself, bring the laughter and the joy and the purpose that she carried with her and meaning. So the second habit is to fill your cup. Now, Oprah is the kind of person, we know a lot of people like this who are so giving to others and they don't give to themselves. So Oprah had to learn the hard way to give to herself, to fill her own cup. And that is something everyone would benefit from because we are trying to help other people, but we can't do that if we're in a position of need and we're not having enough for ourselves. It's harder to give when you don't have enough. So make sure your cup is full. And she likes to say, my cup is full. I am full of myself and my cup runneth over. And when your cup runs over, you're a lot more able to give to other people when you have way more. So this is about honoring yourself and creating that vessel, a healthy amount of resources for yourself so that you're honoring yourself and then you're able to give to your family, your community, and the world. Number 3, the life lesson number 3 is to believe in your dreams. Believe in the dream. Her grandmother was once washing some clothes and telling her, Oprah, you better watch, how I'm doing this because you're gonna have to do this eventually. So Oprah's grandmother wanted her to work for a nice white family, but Oprah she even knew at that young age that she wanted more for herself. So Oprah believed that her future was brighter than that. Even though Oprah grew up in poverty, she didn't believe it when her grandmother said, you're gonna be a maid just like me. So Oprah actually believed that there was more that she could accomplish in her life. Even when Oprah was young, she didn't ascribe to the notion that she was gonna grow up to be a maid. She had bigger dreams for herself. So believe in the dream, because whatever you believe is what will come to be. And you have to have the power and the strength to believe in a bigger dream. So there was this woman who was a guest eventually on Oprah's show who inspired Oprah because she was this battered woman in Zimbabwe who was helped by this nonprofit, and they tried to encourage her to have a dream. And so she had dream number 1 as going to the United States to earn a bachelor's degree. And then when she did that, she had a second dream of getting a master's degree. And then she went back to Zimbabwe buried that dream in a can under a rock, and she ended up doing the second dream as well. She got a master's, and then she eventually became a doctor, and that was the third dream. So this harsh background that this woman came from, she still believed, she had the audacity to believe in a bigger dream, a bigger life. And that is the kind of lesson that Oprah had wanted to give for the 25 years that she did her talk show. Oprah really wanted people to take away the message that believing in your dream is worth it, and that is what changes your life. Life lesson number 4 is to find a way to serve. So Martin Luther King once said that not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because greatness is determined by service for others. The way you provide service for others is you pick a problem, any problem, and you get to work. And the service, as well as the significance you bring to that service, is what will create success for you. And this is something Oprah guarantees. And for the thousands and thousands of people that she's interviewed, what she's understood is that when people are serving others and doing it from a place where they're creating significance in that service that they're providing others, that will allow people to become more successful. Success will follow you, and that's her promise. So those are some heavy words to come from someone who is so well connected to so many stories. And speaking of which, Oprah says that, everything that happens to anyone happens to other people in this world. You're not alone. No matter what you're going through, there is someone out there who is experiencing the same. And it doesn't take thousands of interviews for you to understand that. And this is a good time to say that a lot of these lessons, it's great if you can take them away now, but sometimes you need to go through life and experience certain things in order for these to actually hit you and impact you. And it's really good if you can hear some of these and resonate with them and let it change you. When you hear about a different approach to life and you recognize that that is the right way to think about something, let that help you, and come back to this video and really understand what these lessons are, and if it's time for you in your life to start adopting it and doing some of these things, like filling your cup or believing in your dream or living out the highest, truest expression of yourself. So lesson number 5 is that life will give you whispers. This is basically when God is saying, excuse me, you're going the wrong way. Now, whether you believe in God or not, it's about when life is showing you that you're making a mistake. It first lets you know in a soft way, but suddenly those whispers will become a brick, and the brick could be a wall, and the wall can turn into an earthquake. So it's better if you listen to what that mistake is earlier on, while life is whispering to you what those failures are and what adjustment you need to make. So when life gives you whispers, be sure to listen and get through the challenge and do the next right thing. So pay attention when life is giving you those chances to improve and change course. Lesson number 6 comes from a Maya Angelou quote, which is, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000." It's about knowing your roots and knowing your ancestry, where you come from, who your parents are and who your parents' parents are, because then that gives you strength. And when you enter a room, you are not alone. And when Oprah enters a room, she doesn't feel alone because she remembers her ancestry, or she makes a note of it, or she tries to understand the history of where she comes from. She has a painting in her house that she passes by every time she goes in and out. She And this painting is of an African slave woman, and she also has a list that she reads from, which is the list of names of different slaves who were sold for $500, $900 way back in those times, but she is connected to it. And because she's connected to this, she has a greater sense of who is with her when she walks into a room. And this is a very powerful thing, so that you are able to serve your platform with intention, and you bring a greater sense of presence with you wherever you go. Habit number 7 is to become so skilled that you can get paid to be yourself. Oprah initially tried to be like Barbara Walters, and even though it was a different personality, she really tried to, be like Barbara, talk like Barbara. But what ended up happening is that Oprah had a greater sense of humor. So one day when she said Canada instead of Canada, by accident, of course, as an anchor, she laughed. And when her personality broke through, Oprah realized that being a little bit more herself was the right way to go about it. And she eventually became more herself and continued to get paid, where initially she was paid $22,000 a year for when she was 22. She thought it would be great if she got paid $40,000 at 40. But by being herself, she ended up just making more and more money. And it was just, it's something that was not obvious to her. She thought she'd have to be like other people in order to copy their success. But by being herself, she was able to do so much more and have a much bigger platform and serve with much clearer intentions, because it came from a more authentic place. Just copying the people that she knew and respected was not the way to a bright future. Not her brightest future, at least. So we're going to conclude this video with one last lesson from Oprah, which is what she would say to a younger version of herself. And what she would say is to relax. It's going to be okay. Now, when she was 22, she made $22,000 and thought that when she was 40, it would be nice if she could make $40,000. She was just happy to be making her age. But that amount of anxiety that she had at that time, if she could just say to herself to relax, because everything ended up turning out all right for her. And there's a lot of stress that's just not needed in life. And so just, being true to yourself is enough. You alone are enough. From her thousands of interviews that she's done, everyone, including all the presidents and Beyonce, they all had one anxiety that was common to all of them. And at the end of every interview, they would ask, was that okay? So to hear really powerful people ask for validation, it just goes to show, according to Oprah, that everyone is just trying to feel validated and feel like they have something valuable and meaningful to say, that what they're doing is okay. Just remind yourself that it is going to be okay and you are okay. You can copy Oprah's routine at habitapp.com, where we have Oprah's habits and life lessons. And so next week, we'll be going over J.K. Rowling, who is another billionaire, even though she also gave away a lot of money and is maybe not exactly a billionaire anymore. But she's the creator of Harry Potter, so that will be a really good one. She has an amazing imagination and has had a deep impact on many millions of people, just as Oprah has. So I'm really excited to be learning a lot from her. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and tune in next week when we're going over J.K. Rowling.